There's some non-net tax law between the regressivity of local property taxes and the progressive state taxes.
Yes, and who are you for the
I
benefit?
am no accusing with the UpTake, sorry.
The what?
No accusing with the UpTake.
The UpTake.
The UpTake.
The UpTake. All right. Here's for the UpTake. I've said since I've been governor, I'm not opposed to tax reform, where if the net effect is no tax increase, we would consider that. The details of that are important.
Governor, back to LGA, were you at all swayed by Friday?
And who are you? and you are?
We go way back.
Yeah.
Friday's press conference, there were police officers, firefighters by the dozens here, a big public relations campaign now launched saying Governor Pawlenty, LGA cuts mean public safety is harmed, everybody's public safety is at threat. Is it worth it, the LGA cuts, for that public relations?
We capped the LGA cuts for 2009 at 5% of the total revenues of the city as defined by levy and aid. Actually, they have more revenue than that in the form of fees, federal funds, and other things. But even doing it charitably as a function of levy and aid, the maximum hit they can take under our budget is a 5% reduction as a function of their overall budget. In these times, I think most Minnesotans would say cities and counties and others tightening their belt by 5% is not unreasonable. And if the legislature buys back part of that, it may end up being 2 or 3%. I think that's very reasonable in light of the economic circumstances that they face. I would also commend to you Mr. Scheck's good work on the balances that many cities are holding in reserve funds. I think the mayor of Wadena, who's the head of the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, one of the leading advocates for Don't Touch My Aid, has got a $1 million reserve. If I read the article correctly. Is that right, Tom?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you intend to hold education harmless in the budget?
We intend to increase it in K-12.
But there aren't going to be any cuts to education in schools?
No.
Governor,
How
does this,
much, if any, of
Let's get to somebody who's already hasn't
Governor,
asked
does
a
this,
question
does this
yet. Go ahead.
forecast make it more or less likely that you'd be supportive of a bonding bill, supplemental?
Yeah, it's the forecast and the bonding bill I don't think are directly linked, but what I've said is, we've got a forecast that assumes a very small bonding bill this year, I think 120, 118, 119, something like that. And so to the extent we need some bonding to match up with some of the stimulus money or some of the things that we'd like to do relative to economic development, job growth in the state, we'd be open to that, but we have to be very mindful of the managing the debt load of this state. I mean, again, we've had a long, unbroken chain of keeping debt service payments at no more than 3% of revenues. The November forecast had it at 3.7. This is now at 3.5. So we've got to keep it in that
Do you
context.
think it needs to be 3 or below?
It's not 3 or below. It's currently 3.5. And so there's no way to get it there unless you... One way to do some of that is to, if you did those bonds that we talked about, you use the proceeds to buy down the debt, some of our debt on bonds.
Governor.
Sean?
Governor,
I
thank
know
you.
who you are.
Thank you. I asked Tom Stinson a question earlier and asked what the impact of the $4.6 billion deficit would be on jobs in the state, and he gave us a figure of 3,400. So basically, any of the cuts that you're looking at would increase unemployment. Can you address the factors